This is what remains of Russia's presence in much of northern Ukraine. A hastily abandoned camp by the roadside just 30 miles in from the Belarusian border, where soldiers dug in and prepared for their advance, their foxholes still littered with their rations. So this is where it looks like they were doing their cooking. You could see some onions, coffee, some water, some cans over there. But what's so striking walking around this camp is that it's just a mess. It seems there was a total lack of discipline. Around the corner in the village of Chernish, Ludmila Stepanovna tells us residents hid their valuables as Russian forces looted the area. 5 weeks they were staying here. Tanks were all around us. At night they would shoot at the houses with machine guns, she says. But praise God they didn't touch us. As the Russians continued their lightning offensive down to the city of Chernihiv, their tactics grew more brutal. Faced with stiff resistance on the ground, they doubled down on bombardment from the skies. Ukrainian soldier Bogdan Verbitsky shows us what is left of the village of Novoselivka, just outside Chernihiv. The scale of the destruction is jaw-dropping. Not a single house is untouched. Bogdan explains that this was the final push to get into the city. So he's saying that this was a Ukrainian position. The Russians bombed it heavily, and then Russian soldiers were actually here in this area just a mile away from the city. Nikolai Krasnotal never saw the Russian soldiers here, but he felt the full force of their assault. This is my cellar, he says. He tells us his nephew was sheltering from the bombardment there when it took a direct hit. Pinned down, Nikolai was forced to bury him in a shallow grave in the garden. We put a cross and covered it with a shield so the dogs wouldn't dig him up, he says. I feel such hatred for Putin. I want to tear him apart. I lived for 70 years, but I never saw a beast like this. Many here fear they haven't seen the last of him. On a destroyed bridge, an emotional Tatiana and Svetlana are returning from their first visit with their parents since the war began. They're worried they may not see them again. We don't know if the Russians will come back to the village where my parents are, Tatiana says, and this is so scary. In the end, Russia's offensive in the north was a failure. But the scars of its assault remain deep, and the prospect of a return to normalcy still seems far away.